Have you ever been lying in bed ready to fall asleep when your brain suddenly decides to remind you of something embarrassing you did years ago? Maybe you called your teacher mom in front of the entire class. Maybe you waved back at someone who wasn't actually waving at you. Or maybe you confidently told a joke, only for nobody to laugh. The strange thing is that these moments can stay with us for years, sometimes decades. And even stranger, they often show up when we least expect them. But why? Why does your brain seem determined to keep replaying your most embarrassing moments like a movie you never asked to watch? The answer has less to do with embarrassment and more to do with how your brain is designed to help you survive. To understand why embarrassing memories never leave, we first need to understand how memories are created. Every day, your brain receives an enormous amount of information. The sound of a car passing outside. The color of someone's shirt. The exact number of steps you took this morning. Most of this information is quickly discarded. If your brain stored everything, it would be overwhelmed. Instead, it saves what it considers important. And one of the fastest ways for your brain to decide that something is important is emotion. Think about it. You probably don't remember what you ate for lunch 3 weeks ago. But you might remember the moment you tripped in front of a crowd 5 years ago. Why? Because emotions act like a highlighter for memory. The stronger the emotion, the brighter the highlight. Embarrassment is a surprisingly powerful emotion. When you feel embarrassed, your body reacts almost as if you're facing a threat. Your heart rate increases. Your face may become warm. You become hyper-aware of yourself. And your brain takes notice. It marks the event as significant. In a way, your brain is saying, "That felt important, let's make sure we remember it." But there's another reason embarrassing memories stick around. Your brain loves learning from mistakes. For most of human history, making social mistakes could have serious consequences. Humans survived by living in groups. Being accepted by the group increased your chances of survival. Being rejected could be dangerous. Because of this, our brains became highly sensitive to social situations. Even today, thousands of years later, your brain still treats social mistakes as important information. When you embarrass yourself, your brain often sees it as a lesson. It wants to make sure you don't repeat the same mistake. So it stores the memory carefully. And occasionally brings it back for review. Unfortunately, your brain isn't very good at understanding when a lesson has already been learned. That's why the same memory can return over and over again. But here's where things get even stranger. Most of the time, you're the only person who remembers the embarrassing event. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is our tendency to believe that other people notice and remember our mistakes far more than they actually do. Imagine spilling a drink during a party. You might think everyone is talking about it. You might replay the moment for days. Meanwhile, most people forget about it within minutes. Why? Because they're busy thinking about themselves. Just like you are. Everyone is the main character in their own story. They're usually too focused on their own worries, mistakes, and insecurities to spend much time thinking about yours. Yet your brain doesn't always realize this. It keeps replaying the event as if the entire world is still watching. And that brings us to another mystery. Why do embarrassing memories often appear at night? Why do they show up when you're trying to sleep? One reason is that nighttime is quiet. During the day, your attention is occupied by conversations, work, school, videos, and notifications. Your brain has plenty to focus on. But when you lie down in a dark room with fewer distractions, your mind begins to wander. Old memories become easier to access. Thoughts that were buried beneath the noise of the day suddenly rise to the surface. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It's actually a normal part of how the mind works. In fact, nearly everyone experiences this. Even people who seem confident and successful. They have embarrassing memories too. They just don't talk about them very often. And here's the most important thing to remember. The fact that you still remember an embarrassing moment does not mean it defines you. It doesn't mean everyone else remembers it. And it certainly doesn't mean you're doomed to keep reliving it forever. In many cases, the memory survives because your brain once believed it was important. Not because it actually still is. So the next time an embarrassing memory suddenly appears out of nowhere, try looking at it differently. Instead of seeing it as evidence that you're awkward or flawed, see it as proof that your brain was trying to protect you. A slightly overprotective brain, perhaps. But a brain doing its best. And chances are, while you're busy remembering that embarrassing thing you did years ago, everyone else is busy remembering their own.